Do you love traveling through time and space? Then listen to Gallif Radio, a Whovian podcast, every other Friday, right here on the Journey into Comics Network, journeyintocomics.com.
The following
is a Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into
Is a
Comics.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics
Network
production.
There was an idea.
To bring together a group of remarkable people.
To see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
That they never could.
The Journey into Comics Network proudly presents to you our loyal patrons, The Road to Infinity War, a podcast event unlike any other. 18 MCU movies, 18 weeks until the Infinity War. Each week a review from one of our 9 network shows. This week's review of Deadpool by Podcastrophe. Enjoy. Okay, let me see here. Notes. Okay. A tale as... Oh, wait, that's Beauty and the Beast. My bad. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Podcastrophe. I'm your amazing host, Dead. Now, you guys are probably wondering, where are Dick and Tyler? Why are they not blessing us with their heritage today? Well, here's the deal. Life kind of got in the way a little bit, and Dick is actually moving into a new home where we're going to get the new Podcastrophe studio. And then Tyler, he was traveling very far away. Actually, I'm not even sure where the hell he went. He just went somewhere the fuck away. So here's what happened. It kind of came up. They could not record an episode. So they asked me, Deadpool, to fill in. And I was thinking about, like, what could we do? And how could we do something interesting and fun and different? And I thought, what better way for Podcastrophe to pay tribute to me than to have them talk about me? So, folks, without further ado, let's get into it. This is going to be the Infinity War. I'm sorry, I fucked that up. Podfather, please don't shoot me. This is going to be the Road to Infinity War Deadpool review by one Podcastrophe. We hope you guys enjoy it. It should be a good time. They're going to be talking about me, Deadpool. It should be a great time. Get excited. The Disney and Fox merger is coming soon. And also be sure to check out me in theaters with my best bud, Fred Savage, and Once Upon a Deadpool, coming to theaters exclusively December 12th.
What's up, everybody? This is Podcastrophe coming at you again on a special edition inside of a special edition, so a little bit of special edition exception. Yeah. This is the Road to Infinity War, and we're going to talk about Deadpool today.
which is not part of the MCU.
Nope. This is bonus content for all you Patreon patrons on Patreon.
You're so good at this.
I'm doing this as autistic as I can.
Awesome.
So,
that's my autism.
oh, I thought you were gonna screech.
I can't screech.
But so Deadpool, when it first came out, big controversy. First rated R superhero movie. Mm-hmm. Fans were ready and not ready for that at the same time.
Can I just steal this from you and be like, let's go a step further.
Go ahead.
Let's go further back to the test footage.
Go ahead.
Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Do you remember the test footage?
I vaguely remember it.
It's literally the opening scene of the movie.
Okay.
But it's all CGI, and it's actually Ryan Reynolds in a mocap suit, and it got leaked, and then
Okay, I remember that now.
it got leaked, and then Fox actually put out. Oh yeah.
Easy there, fella.
Then Fox actually like released it, and they're like, "Hey, so," and which is pretty typical of anything that leaks. It's
Right.
like, well,
We planned this.
yeah. So, yeah, that was awesome. That hyped me up so much. I was like, "Holy shit, is this real?" Then I found out it was test footage and it wasn't real, but it was definitely. I did find out that it was Ryan Reynolds actually voicing Deadpool, and I'm like, this would be so perfect. Why is this not a thing?
Well, we as fans, just a Deadpool cameo is something that I've wanted for a long time, and never did I think, as a fan or somebody who considers myself above average as far as being able to review and critique movies and what is feasible, what's not feasible from the movie studio standpoint. And I never, especially, I've always agreed that Ryan Reynolds is the dude that should play Deadpool.
Yeah.
No one else should play Deadpool. And then we get 2 terrible movies, X-Men Origins Wolverine,
Yes.
and we get to see Deadpool himself for the first time. And that is...
We see Wade Wilson.
We
Did
Deadpool.
not see Deadpool.
Well,
We saw Weapon 11.
okay. That was supposed to be Deadpool.
They called him the Deadpool.
That was their plan, and that was terrible. And then there's
Complete
the whole
garbage.
There's the whole Green Lantern flop,
Yeah.
which is even worse than Origins Wolverine. So
And both of these problems, that's what they're called. They're not movies, they're problems.
right,
They both get, these problems both get addressed in Deadpool.
right,
Like right from the get-go, you see in the opening credits where it's showing like the paused animation of like all the shit that's going on in the opening sequence, but you also get the credits of like a really big douchebag,
Yep.
a British villain, and then like some really bad CGI, and it has the Green Lantern trading card with Ryan Reynolds. And then later on you get when things go really bad, and then it shows the falling action figure of Weapon 11, Origins Deadpool, and it's like, okay, not that bad.
those 2 movies were so bad, and it's hard to like formulate it, because I was so excited to see Origins Wolverine, and I was so excited just to get more of the X-Men, and I'm not a big origin story guy. I was excited for that movie. I went to see it in theaters, and that movie was so bad. And then you get to see Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson, and it's like, man, he's got the mouth.
Yeah.
He's the merc with the mouth. He's the merc with the mouth. This is good. I like this. And then it just became shit the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, surely after this, they won't. They're done with it. They've fell on their face, and they made Deadpool so bad that we're not going to get anything else. They'll be so afraid to touch it that they won't go back. And then they do.
Yeah.
And it's fucking awesome.
And it's all because of that test footage.
Right.
Which that test footage got the fans super excited, and they're like, make this happen. Make this fucking happen.
And that's really cool, because look at how many times in any form of media entertainment, when we should be, fans cry out for something and then it never happens. So it's really cool that basically through sheer will and determination, the fans made Deadpool happen.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, that would have been the only major thing that we had, was watching Weapon 11 teleport around and do stupid shit. against Wolverine with swords for arms.
Yeah, adamantium katana arms.
Yeah, that would have been all we had.
And Cyclops lasers.
And teleportation. And healing factor.
Yep. And, there were some other things he was able to do too, but I can't really remember. Because he had several different mutant powers. Anyway, let's go to the good movie.
Yeah.
So let's go to the
let's talk about the
thing
good
we're here
movie.
for. Deadpool, fucking awesome.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about The Room.
No, Deadpool, awesome from start to finish. Like, start with the opening credits with all the little like punches at the people and just hilarious. All the fourth wall breaking.
Well, and that specifically is something that's really awesome because you know, I talk a lot about how Disney or Fox or anybody don't truly nail what a superhero character really is in the comics. They fucking nailed Deadpool.
Oh yeah,
with all the fourth wall breaking that he does and
that
the type of shit that he says.
A lot of that, it was so much Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, absolutely.
He championed that, and you know he made that movie successful on a $40 million budget, super low budget.
Which some of that budget was his own money.
Really?
Yeah, if I remember right, he contributed some of the money for the production value of that.
Interesting.
Let me pull it up just to make sure I'm not making this up. But so I've talked a little bit on the last review that we did, and I talk about it a lot on Podcastrophe. How do you feel about the cast of Deadpool?
I really enjoyed it. Ed Skrein did a really good job as Ajax. As a person who's never read a Deadpool comic, but being a giant fan, I knew about Ajax, but I didn't know that much about him. So his portrayal of Ajax, not really sure. I enjoyed him in the movie, so there's that. Colossus, whoever they got to play Colossus, awesome job making Boy Scout Russian.
I want to talk about that a little bit because, you know, we get Colossus as like a late teens, early 20s man
in X2.
In X2, and it's very underwhelming. You know, Colossus is this super strong, super pivotal part of the X-Men, and he doesn't do shit. I don't even know that he has any dialogue in X2.
I don't think he did, but all he really did was go all Colossus-y and deflect some bullets and save some kids, save some students.
But, you know, as a fan, seeing Colossus like that, it's like, oh my god, he should be doing so much more. And then the amount of comedy that he brings to Deadpool is just fucking fantastic.
Well, it's always great pairing like those super serious like virtuistic characters with Deadpool, who's just gonna totally feed off of that like goody two shoes mentality,
right?
Or that goody two shoes spirit that like say Cable or I don't know much about Cable, but from the Deadpool game,
Cable's not a goody two shoes, dude.
No, but from the game, he was super serious. Like,
yep, he is.
And and it's always fun watching Deadpool like just be the complete antithesis of that,
right?
And he's not evil, but like he just goes against anything that's like.
Well, he's an anti-hero.
Yeah, exactly.
He's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
That's why all of my favorite most of my favorite characters in the MCU are anti-heroes. That's why I like the Guardians so much. That's why I like Deadpool. Lost my train of thought there for a second. That's why I like the Punisher. You know, Venom is a big he's a villain and then an anti-hero and then a villain and then an anti-hero.
Yeah.
You know, he goes back and forth. That's why I love those characters so much, because it's not sunshine and rainbows coming out of your ass all the time. It's, I'm a super powerful dude, and sometimes I'm gonna have to hurt some people, or not necessarily do the super paragon of civilization type thing to get shit done. Because sometimes shit just needs to get done.
Yes.
And that's what Deadpool's there for. To do it with some style and some panache. So what do you think about T.J. Miller as Weasel?
Okay, first of all, when it's for a lot of his scenes, they weren't as funny as they could have been. But when it comes down to like the whole scene where he's like, "Oh wow, you look like a topographical map of Utah was face fucked by Freddy Krueger or whatever," and then you look like an avocado fucked an older, uglier avocado. Just the blooper reel on that alone, where he was just saying shit over, like just continuously saying shit, and they were just picking and choosing what to use. But that's just gold.
I personally think I love T.J. Miller as a comedian.
I love him too. He's fucking hilarious.
We talked about improv with Chris Pratt. T.J. Miller is a guy that can walk into a room.
Oh yeah,
and you can be like, I want you to go on and talk for 15 minutes about tangerines, and he will say the most fucked up, hilarious shit about anything at the drop of a hat.
And you can watch dozens of interviews with him, and he's the same in every single one of them. He just talks, and whatever he says is just hilarious.
Yep.
It's not like he doesn't act. He doesn't act, and he doesn't need to.
Yeah, he's done a really good job of just portraying himself, much like Chris Pratt. Maybe even a little bit better than Chris Pratt on the comedy side. He definitely doesn't have the ability for seriousness and drama, I don't think. I like that his character wasn't forced down your throat the whole movie.
No, it wasn't.
Because he's supposed to be a sporting character. You don't need to see Weasel all the time.
No.
And, all the scenes of him in the bar.
Hey, mate, that guy was over there asking for you. You should go talk to him to further the plot.
Yeah. It's shit like that.
It's like, wow, so Deadpool's not the only person breaking the fourth wall here. That's great.
Which just, it fits with the whole Deadpool theme. You talked about Ed Skrein. What do you think about Gina Carano as Angel Dust?
She was the cool henchman. Cool.
I think she's hot myself.
Yeah. I'll take her over Ronda Rousey in the hotness department.
Yeah, me too. Definitely. What did you think about her dialogue? All like 15
I was about to
lines.
say all three things.
No, there was like 15 lines of dialogue.
She made for good fodder for Ryan Reynolds to feed off of. Like, what was it? Something about Rosie O'Donnell.
I know the line you're talking about. I don't remember exactly what it is.
With a less attractive Rosie O'Donnell or something. You're gonna leave me here alone with something Rosie O'Donnell.
I think it's less attractive Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I like that all of her dialogue was just basically a springboard for Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds to jump off of. I like that her dialogue was, like you said, she played a really good henchman. All of her dialogue was typical, really cheesy, corny henchman shit. And that fit really well.
So in this movie, we get a lot of current day, which all takes place mostly on this highway, this freeway.
Yep.
And then you also go back to before he was Deadpool and everything that led up to him getting the super healing factor and all this shit. And so where do we want to start on that? Do we even want to comment on the actual story of all that, or?
So our main man, Wade Wilson, gets some cancer.
Yes.
Gets all the cancer.
L cancer, as he puts it.
Yep, L cancer.
And the cure for... Then he eventually gets the cure for L cancer.
He gets, but before he gets L cancer, he does a lot of fucking.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole montage of every holiday fucking.
Yep. Speaking of that, I wanted to hit one more person before we...
Miranda Baccarin?
Yep. What do you think about her as his love interest?
Juicy. As Bruise with Dudes would put it. Juicy.
Cameron also says that. It's very much the beasts. You know, we had an event take place this weekend that we will forever refer to as the thickening. I'm not going to get into that, but it was very Deadpool, every holiday fucking esque. So, just in my mind, that's how I'm going to play it out.
That's okay.
See, and it just goes along with the theme of Deadpool. None of that felt forced.
No.
It wasn't like, oh, a gratuitous sex scene, you know. What do you know? Modern cinema. It was like, hell yeah.
It was a sex scene, and then they made fun of it because it was just constant sex scene.
Yep.
Like, that... I put that almost on par with Team America's...
The puppet scene?
The puppet sex scene.
I like how I say the puppet scene like there was only one.
The whole movie was a puppet scene. Tyler.
Literally.
God damn it.
I know.
But no, it's just like this super gratuitous and over-the-top sex scene.
Well, and you know, you get the stuff about Voltron and how obsessed they are with Voltron. And
it's like, if you get 5 of these rings, you can make a bigger Voltron or something. I don't know.
Space fighting robots, man.
Yeah. You'd think I would have a lot more to say about... I'd be able to quote this a lot better, considering, one, I've watched it a few times recently, and I've watched it time and time again over the last 2 years.
It's been a while since I've watched it. Part of the reason I love Deadpool, this iteration so much, separate from all of my comic book hijinks when I was a kid, my wife really enjoyed this movie, and you know, she likes all the nerdy shit that I get into too. But as far as superhero movies, you know, we go watch one, she watches it because I'm watching it, and then we move on. Like, she watched Deadpool with me, and then we were at Walmart like the following day or the next couple days, and we were walking through the men's section just to get back to the electronics. I had to get an SD card or something. And she's like, oh my God, there's a Deadpool shirt. I have to have it. So I bought her a Deadpool shirt, and she wears the hell out of that thing. So, you know, it's cool that she found a superhero that I can now talk to her about.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can enjoy watching the movie together because she's actually taken an interest in the superhero or anti-hero, however you want to say it. But,
you know, Miranda and I, we share that. We share Deadpool as well because, you know, the first night I met Miranda, we watched Deadpool. Or I watched Deadpool and she was hunched over drunk.
Yeah. We all have those days.
Oh, yeah.
But, so we go from gratuitous sex scenes, which are awesome, to L Cancer. And then, rather than spend a bunch of money on cancer treatment,
he just gives up.
He doesn't
give up. He just, like...
At first, he gives up.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. Like, at first he gives... Well, I wouldn't even call it giving up. He's just like, I don't want to put you through that. It's not giving up. It's just being noble, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. He
wants to just up and leave. And, well, So that's when the whole... Hey, you should go talk to that guy it might further the plot. And what does he call him? He makes a bunch of pedophile jokes with it.
Yep.
Jared from Subway. That's the way he calls him. He keeps calling him Jared.
And then there's the newspaper ad, which advertises the become a mutant, you know, type thing. And then he goes and goes through a lot of shit to become mutant.
Yes, and that's where we learn Ajax's name, Francis. And but yeah, he becomes a mutant, and they decide to leave him in that oxygen, it's some kind of chamber. It's a oxygen deprivation chamber essentially, and so that's how they trigger his dormant mutant genes.
Yep.
And after he goes through his change, they discover him, and they're like, all right, well, you're going to stay in there for a little while longer.
Because of his mouth.
Because, yeah. And
he's pissing Francis off.
He pissed Francis off. And so they leave him in there, and so somehow he manages to get a match off of Gina Carano and Angel Dust, and somehow lights it, throws it into the part that shoots out the oxygen, just enough to keep him alive, and it causes an explosion.
Because pure oxygen is extremely flammable.
Yes. So the whole place is on fire and all that. Mr. Francis comes down, and then they fight.
While he's butt-ass naked.
While he's butt-ass naked. We got to see some very explicit Ryan Reynolds gooch.
Yes, we did.
Gooch and behind the balls a bit. And then that's when we get the line. Afterwards, after the whole place burns down and he's crawling out of the ashes, that's when we get the line of, I didn't just get the cure to L cancer, I got the cure to L everything.
Yep.
And then fast forward to present day, and we got that whole scene. Or earlier, we got the whole scene where he's literally counting down the bullets in his gun. He's like, "Oh shit, I forgot all my extra ammo." So he's just, guess you all have to share. And we get all those lines like, "Wait, wait." We get that. We get the whole like, he asked him like about why he wears a red suit so the bad guys can't see him bleed. This guy had the right idea. He wore the brown pants. Mm-hmm. And then,
well, what about the whole taxi scene up until that point?
Oh, with Joe Pender.
With Joe Pender.
Joe Pender.
That's what I'm gonna say it.
Joe Pender.
Joe Pender.
Any relation to Joe?
Probably. They're very similar type people.
The Joe Pender scene was hilarious because he's like, "Oh, I didn't." He tells him how much the fare was, and he's like, "Yep, I didn't bring a wallet." Ruins the lines in the suit.
Yep.
High five. Yeah.
Well, there's the whole like heart to heart where he's talking to Mr. Pender about his love interest and what he should do, how he should handle that situation, and then fast forward in the movie, and she's in the back of his trunk.
No, his brother.
That's what I meant.
His brother or cousin? It's his cousin, his handsome cousin.
Yes. Is in the trunk, kidnapped, following the advice of Deadpool.
So, and we get introduced to Super Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Lackluster to me.
Yeah. And they make fun of that. Deadpool makes fun of that. And the fact, what do you know, a moody teen.
Yep.
Always texting.
She calls him old.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yes. We also got this super amazing line. Someone mentions the professor, and he's like, "Which one, McAvoy or Stewart?" And I absolutely love that. They get to the X mansion, and like it's almost like they're like, "Oh, what? There's only 2 of you here." It's almost like the studio couldn't afford more X-Men. All these little punches at the X-Men. It's like, oh, this place blows up every few years, and yeah.
All the all the dialogue. Oh, I don't know how that got moved.
It's the mic cable, and it's probably on there loose.
all the dialogue that takes place out of combat, I guess, or all the major stuff when they're just basically shit talking each other at the mansion. Fantastic. I could just watch an entire movie of that because it's fucking hilarious. Then we get an awesome combat scene on the bridge. Deadpool's cutting people in half and shooting people in the face and getting the shit shot out of him. He gets handcuffed to a bridge, cuts his arm off, comes back with a nub.
Yeah, his home's life scene was pretty good with Al, blind Al.
They're putting together the IKEA furniture.
She was already. She
That's what
already
I'm
put
saying.
it together. Yeah, and it just falls. And then they have this entire conversation about IKEA and the Who doll and and it's so Deadpool because it's like this has nothing to do with anything, but
Absolutely fucking nothing.
They're doing it. Then you get the tiny hand scene. And Jesus Christ, is that a baby hand? It's like, oh yeah, you'll remember Al from earlier, and it's like, I miss cocaine. I miss cocaine. Fucking old ladies. But rewind again. We're hopping all over the place, but
as it should be.
Rewind after he gets the cure to everything.
I like how you keep saying it that way.
I'm always going to say it that way now. In terms of this, so we get this montage of him going after people, looking for Francis, and every person he just tackles or chases after, he's like, "Where's Francis?" And it's like none of these henchmen are gonna know who the hell he's talking about, which is hilarious to me.
Because he's Ajax, he's not Francis.
He's Ajax to everybody else, but he's calling him Francis, so even like there's no way, and it's completely futile for him to be saying where's Francis, but he keeps doing it because it's just funny that way,
right?
It makes for, and I don't know if anybody ever picked up on that.
No, I can honestly say the first time I watched the movie, I didn't.
I think by the third
I was
person,
just focused on what he was doing, not what he was saying.
I think by like the third or fourth person, I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, none of them are gonna know who he's talking about, so they're basically dying for no reason.
Right.
It's just a cool fucking kill,
they're bad
kill
dudes,
montage.
so not totally not.
You get the famous fucking, you're gonna get killed by a Zamboni in 5 minutes.
I love that scene.
I can nerd out about this movie and just quote it.
Quote away.
I've been trying. I've been failing.
Well, then don't hype yourself up if you can't do it.
You're right.
I'm always right. But,
where's Stan Lee?
Stan Lee's in a strip club.
Yep.
The strip club scene.
He is the announcer. He is the girl announcer in the strip club scene. And he announces chastity.
According to Stan Lee, that is the one cameo that he regrets.
Really?
Yep. I've actually got the article pulled up. I'll read it real quick. I did have the article pulled up. I will have it pulled up in just a moment.
So yeah, that's the scene where Ryan Reynolds, Wade, decides to go after his love, and tell her that, hey, he's still alive, and hey, you're in danger, and all this shit. And he brings Weasel with him, and then Weasel's like trying to talk him up and being like, hey, dude, just fucking do it.
Just do it.
Because up until then, like he was too afraid, like she would reject him.
All right. Here is what Stan Lee said. This article was written May 30th of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
During a recent interview at MegaCon, blah, 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 told the crowd that all wasn't as it seemed when he appeared in Deadpool. In the film, Lee appears as a DJ at a strip club. The film is rated R, partially for the nudity in that scene. And here's what he says. I don't know if I should tell you the truth about that cameo. It will kill all your fun, said Lee. I was not in the topless dancing place. I did that in a studio, and then they put that into the movie. And I'm damn mad about that. He continued, I made them promise on the next one I'm going to be right there. Lee has had a cameo in numerous films, blah, blah, blah. So basically, Stan Lee...
He's not mad about the
He's not mad
content.
about the scene. He's mad that he didn't get to see some titties. That is why Stan Lee is mad. Because he got locked in the closet with a microphone
Yeah.
And he wasn't in that strip club looking at some titties. Stan Lee never ceases to amaze me.
Well, I was definitely thinking it was going to be more like he was mad.
That's why I said it the way that I did.
I'm glad. That's great. That's fucking
He is an
great.
old ass man.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, sometime in the next few years, maybe decade, we're going to lose Stan Lee. But always remember this, that he's pissed off about one of his cameos
because he
didn't get to see some titties. Thumbs up to you, Stan Lee, for that.
Thumbs up to you, dude.
So, after the Stan Lee cameo, we get Deadpool running off to save the love of his life with his Voltron decoder rings and the whole shebang.
Yep.
And how do you feel about I'll say the last 20 minutes of the movie?
Oh, it's awesome because you get a cameo from Hydra Bob.
Yep.
Which they couldn't call him Hydra Bob due to licensing, as MCU owns the rights to Hydra.
Correct.
So instead we just get Bob, which is great.
How many people do you think picked up on that?
I know at least one, and that's my old roommate, Nick Torres. He picked up on that rather quick, and he made a mention to me about it, and I was like, yeah, that's
Hydra Bob.
Mm-hmm. And they not only did they get the Bob cameo, but they also brought an Easter egg from earlier in the movie back where he's like, TJ Friday's down in Jacksonville, and they're like, so they brought that up.
Yep.
It's like, I haven't seen you since Jacksonville, yeah, and then he just knocks him out. And Ajax is like, what's my name? He's like, oh, I'm gonna fucking spell it for you. And then he actually he lines all the bodies from everybody he just killed, and he spells out Francis. Mm-hmm. It's fucking fantastic.
So one thing that I don't like about that sequence of events is Colossus gets the shit kicked out of him.
Yes.
That should not have happened.
No.
At all. Colossus should have beat her to death. Even Goody Two-Shoe Colossus, as he's portrayed in this movie, would have beat her to death. And she kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah. So
Cool looking. It was a very well choreographed fight scene. Mm-hmm. The whole thing. You know, Deadpool, Negasonic Teenage Warhead was badass. Colossus was a bitch and got the shit kicked out of him.
yes.
But it was all a cool sequence of events.
And then later we get the fight on the helicarrier, which is weird to have a helicarrier because once again, that's part of the MCU.
Correct.
But they couldn't have Hydra. Either way, whatever. Details doesn't matter. So we get to the point where Ajax Francis is basically on his death. He's on his last breath. And Deadpool's got the gun on him. And it's the only gun he managed to bring because he left all of his guns and ammo in Dopender's taxi.
Yep.
But so he's got this gun aimed at him, and he's like, "Give me the cure." You said AJ is like, "I don't have a fucking cure. Fuck off." And
there never was a cure.
And so he's just going on and going on. He's like, "You just told me the one thing that was keeping you alive." It's like that you suck at this. And he just shoots him.
Yep.
And he shoots the shit. Oh wait, no, he was going to shoot him, and then Colossus stops him. And he's like, it's not the things that you do to make you a hero that makes you a hero. Sometimes it's things you don't do. Or some shit like that. He goes on a fucking long speech, and then in the middle of the speech, Deadpool just shoots him in the fucking face. It's just,
yep.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
And then Colossus throws up. He vomits. Like he can't. Like he's just so sickened with this.
On one side of the coin, I really like seeing Colossus be like this, and then at the same time, it's like, you're a giant fucking Russian man. Mm-hmm. Grow the fuck up.
Yes.
You beat people to death with your hands. They're metal.
So then we finally get the meeting of Wade Deadpool Wilson,
I like how you made Deadpool his middle name.
Yes. Wade Poole Wilson.
Ooh.
Mr. Poole.
There you go.
And I can't. What was her name?
The love interest?
Yeah,
I just had it.
Morena.
We are so bad at
We're terrible
everything.
right now. It's been a long day for me. So
Me too.
Yeah.
Copycat.
Oh.
That's what she's listed as in the film.
What?
Copycat.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What was her real her?
Give me a second and I'll get you
That's
there.
weird. I don't remember. Well, I remember her eventually becoming something, and it's probably Copycat. But Vanessa. Yeah. So they finally meet with each other, and she knows it's him from the fight, and she tells him to take off the mask, and he takes off the mask, and I didn't realize it the first time I watched it, but he had that magazine cover, the picture of, and I didn't.
It was under his mask the whole time.
Yeah. Supposedly.
Like, he planned this shit out, like, oh, I'm gonna get reunited with
But that's straight
the
up.
one human being that I love.
That's the fourth wall breaking.
And I've got a fucking magazine of Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was Hugh Jackman the first time I saw it.
Oh, I noticed that. It was the hair. The hair gave it away.
I should have known. I don't know. I didn't even think about who it could be.
It looked so good. It was so fucking funny because it was like
he had the eyes cut out.
He had the eyes cut out and the like a little slit for the mouth. And it's like he took some safety scissors in the cab and like snip, 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 snip.
Yeah.
And put that on under it. But he had to position it perfectly. So when he slid his...
Well, he stapled it to his face.
You're right. But still, you slide a mask down over top of it and it's going to crinkle the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Yes, and then...
Doesn't he say some shit like, don't I look good or something?
I can't remember. Oh, fuck. I love this movie. So she's like, yeah, it's going to take some getting used to, but she ultimately stays with him.
Well, she remembers all that gratuitous fucking.
Yes.
All the fucking.
All the fucking. Oh, and then so roll credits, and we get like all these like crazy animations that we got earlier in the movie when he was knocked the fuck. We had a sword through his head and knocked the fuck out, basically.
Real quick before we wrap this up and roll credits, there's one specific thing that we have not talked about that takes place during the entire movie. Careless Whisper. So in our Guardians review, we talk a lot about the musical score and all that did for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even hardly say it. Wade Wilson and Vanessa have this like deep-seated love for Careless Whisper, and it's played in very important scenes in the movie. And doesn't he start singing it at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, not along the same tones as Guardians, but adding to that comedy.
Yeah.
Watching Deadpool sing Careless Whisper after he killed like 70 people is just fucking awesome.
Very much so. Very much so.
So we roll credits.
Credits.
If I can say roll credits.
Roll credits with Careless Whisper playing.
Right.
And so we get all these little animations, and then after the credits, we get just the shot of a wall. This really cheesy, shitty wallpaper. And then out from the doorway pops Deadpool, full costume Deadpool in a robe, like a bathrobe.
It's supposed to be a play on Ferris Bueller.
Yeah. And he's just like, "Oh, you're still here?
It's over. Go home."
Why? Why are you still here? Go home. Oh, you thought there was going to be something here? You thought there was going to be something? There's not. Why
yeah, he actually says you're expecting a teaser for Deadpool 2. Well, we don't have that kind of money.
Yeah. But he basically, and then he straight up confirms, like, oh, by the way, we're gonna do. There is gonna be a Deadpool 2, and there's Cable.
So right before that, he turns to walk away from the camera and he says, "What are you expecting? Sam Jackson to show up in an eye patch?"
Yeah.
I had actually forgotten that he said that. Mm-hmm. And then we get the Cable. We have no idea who we're going to cast yet, but it could be anyone. We just need a big guy with a flat top. Mel Gibson, Dolph Lundgren, Keira Knightley. She's got
he said Keira Knightley. I forgot about that. Keira Knightley. Shit. So what would you give this movie? What would you rate this out of 10?
For a couple reasons. One, because it's finally following through on something that I've always wanted to see since I was a kid. Deadpool running around doing anti-hero shit. And how
not even anti-hero shit, Deadpool-y shit.
Right. Okay, that's a better way to say it. And for how well the comedy, I was very concerned with what a rated R superhero movie was going to be, especially with one of my favorite comic book characters, and then they fucking nailed it. So I would rate Deadpool an 8 out of 10.
I'm giving it a solid 10.
You're giving it a 10 out of 10?
Yeah, I thought they knocked it out of the park for the budget they had, and then for Ryan Reynolds just absolutely nailed the character for the director Miller. I can't remember his first name. It's one of the Millers. I think it's Tim Miller.
I think so too. We're so bad at this.
He managed to make this movie a fucking masterpiece.
I would rate it higher if it hit more than just fanfare and comedy for me. If there was, much like Guardians, if there was a lot of drama and plot buildup and a full scope of what a major motion picture is supposed to be, I would give it a 10 out of 10. Even though that's not what it was supposed to be, I think an 8 is not ill-deserved by any means.
No, it's not. Another reason I give it a 10 is because it was a really well-made movie to me. Like the flow of the movie, I hadn't seen a movie flow the way I wanted it to flow in a very long time.
I wouldn't disagree with you there, especially as much as it jumps around. It never feels choppy.
No.
And it doesn't feel like filler. A lot of times when you have movies jumping from time period to time period, and especially like Deadpool where it jumps from time sequence to time sequence, like, oh, here's where I'm at, here's way back to the beginning, here's where I'm at again, here's a little bit before that. A lot of times I don't like movies like that just because it feels like chop and then filler and then chop and filler, and then you'll get a major plot point and then here's some more filler. I like that Deadpool didn't do that. I like that they did it, but they did it well. So,
fourth wall break inside of a fourth wall break? That's like 16 walls.
Yeah.
What did you think of the suit design?
At first, I didn't like it.
Really? I fucking love it.
See,
and I've been desperately trying to find a decent one.
I wasn't happy with how much it looked like a motorcycle jacket. It looked like an entire suit of motorcycle jacket material. It was very glossy in a lot of scenes, and I don't know. That's just my brain and my eyes not accepting or not noticing something that in my mind should not be that way.
Yeah.
Because comic books, it's a matte colored suit. It is like I don't want to say spandex, but it is a non-reflective material. And then, the whole movie, depending on what direction he's facing and how the light hits his suit, sometimes it'll be really glossy and, almost look like it's wet.
Yeah.
But I didn't think the suit design was bad. I'm obviously not cut like Ryan Reynolds, so I couldn't wear that fucking thing. I wouldn't want to wear that thing. Imagine how hot that fucking suit was.
Right.
But I thought they did a good job. Costume design overall for the entire movie was good.
Yeah.
You know, nothing looked really out of the ordinary. I mean, it looked like a costume that a dude made in his house. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I love the costume, but once again, I give it a 10. This is actually probably my favorite movie.
Out of all of them?
Out of everything, not just MC.
You're saying Marvel. Total favorite movie of all time?
Yeah, just because, like, you know, that movie just makes me so fucking happy to watch.
Yeah,
it's such a joy for me to watch that movie, and not just because I'm a Deadpool fan, but just because it's such a funny fucking movie.
Right.
Like that's a movie I'm gonna remember and love for years.
You're a movie I'm gonna remember and love for years.
I know.
Did you just Han Solo me again?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. It never ends.
Well, take us out of here, Tyler. Beam me up.
This has been Podcastrophe on Patreon, where we do really cool shit.
Yeah.
So everybody, I was going to say everybody have a little dick day, like me, so they all understand. But all you fucking people listening, have a big goddamn dick day. Yee! And we're done.
Woke up this morning with my dick in my hand. Girl is to the right of me, just like I planned. It's gonna be a big dick day. 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 Big dick day. It's gonna be a big dick day. It's gonna be a